First of all, guys, welcome to the stream, or welcome to the YouTube video as well that we're going to be going over the patch notes. And first things first, I want to have a quick look at the challenges because apparently they've been changed. Here are my set of challenges. So we've got kill 40 vehicles with 76 millimeter upgraded American Sherman tanks. That seems like quite a difficult one. Win 5 multiple activity team size. Kill 50 infantry heavy machine guns. They seem like the standard ones beforehand. Kill 1 team weapon with the Wehrmacht Sturmpanzer 4 in a match. That seems very reasonable. That's quite a nice one. Kill 2 vehicles with infantry squads in a match. Again, okay, so I'm glad to hear that by the looks of things, these kind of challenges seem more doable, at least the daily ones for sure as well. But I still think that, that Sherman one, like it's the kind of end game you've got to upgrade it, and then you still got to kill that many vehicles. It's quite a difficult one. So those are those ones. Have they added any more skins and stuff in the store? By looks of things, I don't think so. No new skins or anything like that they've added with this update either. Okay, right. Let's go straight into the patch notes, which we have here. All right, let's begin. The Emerald Bear update 1.20 is packed full of gameplay improvements, balance adjustments. We are also introducing 2 new maps and the first version of our player profile. Be sure to review all of the changes and fixes below or check out mission briefing for an overview. Right, so there's 2 new maps, one for 3v3 and one for 4v4. The 3v3 one is Benghazi map. That actually was a map that was already in the game, believe it or not. That was a custom, if you go into, a skirmish map, you could have it, but it wasn't in auto match. So they've now pushed it into auto match. So technically, it isn't a new game, a new map. They might have updated it though, but they've now added it to auto match, which is good. So they only really added one more 4v4, one new map this patch, which is Monte Cavo map. And for anyone curious about these maps, I will be doing separate videos in the future and on each map, and I'll analyze them and rate them basically. Okay. Player profile added new player profile feature. The player profile displays information about rank matching, match rating, player rank, and additional statistics about matches. You can find a few Q&As on this new feature here. So this is this whole thing here. So player profiles are coming next week in the Emerald Bell update. So from my understanding, there is I think it's 4 types of rank. I think there's bronze, silver, gold, and challenger. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think those are those. But I guess here we go. Oh, so it's brass. Oh, no, brass, bronze, iron, silver, gold. There's a lot more than I thought there was going to be. So you got lots of them there. Got lots of different ratings, and apparently there's challenger ratings for the top players. So that's something that I'll try and see if I can aim for once I feel like I can be bothered to play competitively again in the game. Okay, we'll have a deep dive and look at that in a bit. Menu improvement, social interaction. Players can now find all social interaction by clicking the ... button next to a player's name. Challenges. So here's a list of all the challenges that's been changed and updated. So basically, it's made it easier. So a lot of these are now all these challenges which you earn merit and then you use merit to buy skins. They've basically been a lot easier now to obtain. Rather than 5 of something, you only need to do 2 of something, which seems to be the case on a lot of these things. So which is good. So I hope makes people allows people to earn more merit. Therefore, they can get some more of these skins. So that's definitely a welcome change. Gameplay changes and balanced vehicle mobility and pathfinding. End of movement added a new functionality for vehicles to end their movement order a set distance before a blocker. Infantry and vehicle blocking. Infantry units no longer ignore moving vehicles and try to path around them. So overall, all these changes just help with the pathing and the movement of vehicles and infantry and stuff, which is definitely a welcome change. It's all good. Hopefully, the vehicles will start to act more like they do in Code 2 rather than Code 3. Especially things like trying to get, like, for instance, an 8 rad. Let's say you're trying to strafe a certain vehicle, you'll be able to circle around it, or like let's say the Greyhound and you're trying to circle around a Marder or a Stug. It'd be a lot easier now for you to do it. Your vehicle won't just stop and turn then move. It should be more smoother. I haven't tested it myself yet, but that's what the change, what they've done, and what I've seen in some videos Relic have put out. So vehicles are using their original face direction for most movement orders, formation movement. Vehicles now adhere to their formation as expected when performing formation movements instead of converging to the same point. Phasing through, so vehicles are now allowed to phase through each other and through enemy vehicles that are moving, although they would still prefer to move around if possible. So this is something, so it's going to be more like Code 2 where things phase through, which is not great. I guess they've done this change to make it so it helps with, again, pathing. Things are not going to get stuck trying to move certain corridors or choke points. It's not going to look very realistic when you see things phasing through, but it may be a necessary evil that they have to do this so that it helps with the gameplay element. Apparently, though, if you have a vehicle, if you let's say you flanked with a Sherman and a Tiger was trying to retreat, you went around the back of a Tiger and then you stopped your Sherman, that should mean that the Tiger would not be able to phase through your Sherman. That is supposedly, that should be the case, but again, we would have to test that. I know in Code 2, that was supposed to be the way it would work, but still, things would still phase through each other and it'd be very, you remember a T-34, you try to block a King Tiger from retreating, and the T-34, the King Tiger would just phase through the T-34 like it wasn't even there. And that was, really, it was annoying because it was, immersion breaking, and, it kind of stops a person utilizing a well thought out strategy or rather tactics in that scenario. Referred to not go around even if path is blocked, vehicles will no longer go off path while chasing enemies. This change will make to address unpredictable vehicle behavior when the vehicle path is blocked in chases. Road preference to prevent vehicles from responding unpredictably, often veering to roads instead of taking the shortest route to the order location. Road preference was turned off. This is a huge one. I've had this happen personally multiple times during matches where I've told a vehicle or a unit, specifically vehicles, to move to a certain location and then go, I want them to take the long way around because it's the safe way, but they would automatically, in the previous patch of Company Heroes 3, they would always stick to the road, end up getting themselves killed, which is very frustrating. So this is a huge one. You won't have your vehicles sticking to roads now. A much welcome change. Vehicle turning has been improved to prevent them from pivoting on the spot or losing too much momentum while turning. This change is meant to improve responsiveness with vehicles, especially during flanks. So that's what I talked about with the circle strafing, things like that. Change of vehicle speed. Loads of vehicle speed changes are here, so we'll have to do a lot of testing to see which one, how vehicles feel. And see, all these changes here. Again, I will leave the link to the patch notes if you want to check these in detail in the YouTube comment section below. So if you want to have a proper look for yourself, you can look there. So I won't go over all this, but you can get an idea, and you'll just play it and get a feel for how things change and stuff. So that's all the vehicles there. Right, event queues. All event queues received an art pass and will now look more cohesive with one another. Event queues have been further adjusted to reduce how they appear on the player's screen. So that is when you see I think I've turned them off personally because they were huge, but I think it was the top left-hand side of your screen. You'd have event queues pop up to certain things. So they've had an art pass apparently. So hopefully it'll be more clearer what certain events are happening, I guess. In the match results, damage dealt and damage taken stats are no longer include environmental damage and friendly fire. Kill stats such as soldiers kills and vehicle kills no longer include friendly fire. Squads lost stats at the end of the match now show the correct number. Unit efficiency and changed. Unit efficiency fixed and changed from percentage to ratio efficiency factor. Okay, so hopefully, the end of match results as we know it beforehand were all over the place and made much sense. Hopefully they now are maybe working as intended. Again, we'll have to test that out, but that's good. Minimap and tactical map. The animation for out of supply sectors has been updated to be in line with previous Company Heroes games, flashing between two different zones of blue or red for enemies. Territory lines are no longer disappear in out of supply sectors. So that's good. I remember looking at the minimap, thinking a sector was still connected, or why is it not showing? So hopefully that kind of has been fixed on the minimap kind of thing. Modding to ease the work of modders who might want to approach the tuning of flight and off-map systems for the first time. We have created architect abilities for the attribute editor to look at and use inspiration source full of detailed comments. Okay, so that's good for modders. Great. Right, off-map. Off-map abilities, multiplayer. The intent of the changes to off-map abilities is to deliver a more robust, reliable, and responsive system while also improving the experience by providing more tales from both a visual and audio standpoint. Off-map audio. Added projectile sounds to off-map abilities that vary with the type of ability. Well, that's great, because then you'll know exactly what type of maybe off-map is being used against you. Instead of maybe a mortar strike, so a mortar strike will probably maybe sound different to, for instance, a howitzer strike, because they're different caliber around. And, again, we'll have to see for ourselves to see if that's the case, but that's good. Because then you'll know how dangerous something might be. So therefore you'll know how quickly you might need to react to something. Flares, both off-map and flight abilities, will now use an expansive set of flares, which will indicate the danger level of an ability. Added yellow-colored flares for low-threat abilities like mortar barrages abilities. So that's interesting. Yellow. We've never seen yellow-colored flares before. Added orange-colored flares for medium threats and like strafing runs and standard off abilities. Media covers the existing red coloured flares will now announce heavy threats like bombing, rocket runs. Well, this is cool. I like this. This is something new to Company Heroes. We haven't seen a a variety of colours indicating that like the threat level of certain off-map abilities. So this is nice. Definitely feel like that's a nice addition, I would say. The green colour flares will be kept for power drop related abilities. So let's say if you're calling in even a Panzer Pioneer, a Fallschirmjäger Pioneer, sorry, or like the airborne 50 cal, or was it 30 cal? I can't remember. You're dropping them in, and they'll be green still, regardless if it's allied or enemy. They'll still be green. Sector off maps added. Sector highlight on both the minimap and tactical map with 4 players, which territories is being covered by sector ability. Sector abilities used by player or allies will highlight the affected territories in yellow. Those components will turn orange. Great, so like Code 2. So this is just them re-adding a feature that was in Code 2, basically. Any accessibility with the colour? That's a great point, Mithriel. We'd have to check that, because if you're colourblind, you might be screwed there. So that's a very good point. What if you're colorblind? What if you're not great with obviously colors? So how will they know the difference between the severity of the threat? Maybe the flare. I don't know. Maybe there should be another kind of thing to give away. Maybe the direction of where the flare is going might indicate as well which kind of type of threat it could be. For instance, that might be a thing to add. Or maybe like the canister that's used part of the flare would be a different type of canister, so people could see that and think, okay, it's that type of flare. That they didn't really think about accessibility when they've done that. Ability reticles adjusted various reticles abilities to match the effective radius ability type. Ground deformation off map now do ground deformation damage. Great. So again, something like Company Heroes 1 and 2 had. US Forces Special Operations Battle Group raining flares considerably reduced the ability delay, which we now correctly spawn a flare on the highlighted territories. Wehrmacht. This is Breakthrough Battle Group with the zero artillery shells will literally drop more scattered and fewer in number, increasing in number and accuracy over time. British Indian Artillery Battle Group, the off-map airburst barrage, adjusted ability to be significantly more reliable, reduced the ability effectiveness against neutral buildings. So that sounds like if you're in a building, you won't take as much damage as you would beforehand. Perimeter Monitor. Perimeter Monitor will now feature 3 separate artillery that will individually target any visible unit with heavy artillery, followed by a delay before a new target are acquired. Perimeter Monitor now shows an area effect on the cover sectors, both the medium and tactical sectors affected with yellow, so that's good. British Armoured Battle Group. Recon Artillery now usable anywhere on the map except the HQ areas. Recon Artillery airplane call-in now gives vision for artillery to be dropped on visible enemy units, so you'll need now to shoot that down. Your axis, because obviously that'll just give vision and you'll just lose all this stuff. Ability will now end if the recon plane gets destroyed. Well, that's huge. So that's got a big nerf to it, because it would continue beforehand. So generally the recon plane, I think it's increased in health. If we get enemy units inside the HQ sectors will not be targeted by artillery, even if the ability inside the area of effect. Mission cost has been reduced by 30. Plane health has increased, so it can take a little bit more firepower. British Air and Sea Battle Group. Assault flares. Frontline sectors will be highlighted on the minimap and tactical map. Recon flares will be dropped to provide vision of the area. Rate of bonus fire decreased from 50 to 25%. That's a pretty huge nerf for that ability. Naval Bombardment. Ability reworked to be significantly more lethal and reliable. Cost increased to 225, which is 25 cost of 25 mission increase. Heavily increased the number of projectiles fired, so that's pretty good. So obviously it'll do more damage then. Near OE distance decreased from 4 to 2, so it's more accurate, I believe. Wait, no, I think that means it'll do less damage from units away from the projectile. So it's going to be more specific in the area, and it's reduced the damage as well. So actually, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's gone up, but lots more shells. We'll have to test. It's going to be Yeah, an interesting new ability to try and see how that's been changed. Right, the Afrika Korps, Italian infantry battle group propaganda war ability will now work correctly. Will correctly work on squads capable of retreating. Slightly reduce the delay after which units are retreated, so a little bit of a nerf. Obis, 305mm barrage ability reworked to be significantly more reliable. Great. Registered artillery ability can now be cast on player owned victory points independently by the owner of the resource sector on which they are located. Shells will initially drop more scattered and fewer number, increasing in number and accuracy over time. Update the projectiles area effect profile to be more effective. Possibly a buff to that, I guess. We'll see and find that out. Italian combined arms. Artillery cover. Enemies inside the HQ sector not be targeted. Radius increased considerably. So it's a buff. The ability will feature 3 separate artillery that will individually, so it's almost like the British one that we saw a minute ago, team weapon vehicle, dropping flares, feature barrage. When ability is used, it will now highlight the area as well. Great. Team weapons. So this is across the board with team weapons. Aim while on reload cooldown cycles. Team weapons can now move the barrel to acquire a new target while the reload or cooldown phase of the team weapon are team weapons is happening. They will no longer wait for the phases to complete before acquiring new targets. So that's just going to make them again more responsive. They'll be able to fire quicker, so it'll be easier for them to deal with more infantry. Be able to deal with maybe infantry that's coming in from different flanking angles. You'll be able to let's say you're shooting a squad that's coming at you, suppress that, but you then told it to turn and shoot something else, so it'll turn, and then if it was reloading, it'll reload and then shoot immediately. So I've got to finish reloading and then turn. So should be more reliable, hopefully. Idle state team weapons are now able to track and start the setup process much better when the weapon is not set up and enemies move into range. Previously, it was possible the team would indefinitely try to follow the center of a squad as it moved. Prioritization. Team weapons now only start to tear down if all entities of the target enemy squad are out of the arc of fire. Previously, it was possible the entities from enemy squad were still targetable, but the weapon chose to tear down. Tear down. Team weapons are now tear down much faster. Barrels now snap to the center quickly to allow the team weapon to start the tear down process. This makes them more responsive. Great. Turn in place range. Team weapons now have a range around them, which giving a reface order won't make them move to the location. Most of the time, when doing a proximity clear near a team weapon with a reface order, the intent of the player is to pivot and not move, which adds extra delay. Unit selection, increasing the selection boxes for infantry. This will help when selecting infantry, both the players and opponents. Retreating units no longer remain selectable. Great. When reselecting units, the game will now reset any previously open menus such as construction. This is great. Good quality of life here. I don't know if you guys or anyone else has experienced this, but I sometimes end up accidentally retreating units when I try and select on tanks, thinking I've selected on it because I'm used to Company Heroes 2 selection mechanics where it's a lot easier to click on certain things. So hopefully that will fix that where you accidentally retreat certain things. Right, factions and ability changes. Auto reverse, anti-tank guns in all vehicles. Auto reverse range is now reduced from to 40 from 60. So that means that they will now, if you were to do 41 meters, I believe that they would then turn on the spot and then pull back. So they won't reverse back after 40 anymore, basically. Camouflage ambush bonuses. All infantry squads now use the same camouflage bonus, 40% accuracy, 25% damage for 5 seconds when firing from camouflage. Casemate tank destroyers. So Martyrs, Stugs, Brombars, Semavente, 75 half-track gun, and motor carriage. Casemates will now center themselves when a target is outside its arc. Casemate guns now track their targets without moving their hull. Casemates guns now traverse target fire within their arc without needing to be perfectly centered. This is massive because I don't know how many times I've had it with, like, for instance, the Marder is trying to line up a shot on like a Greyhound, but it has to drive up, turn, and then it starts to aim, which by the time it starts to aim, the vehicle's long gone. So here, hopefully now the Marder or the whatever, all these casemate guns will be able to come up and then instantly aim and shoot. They haven't got to worry about turning, so that will make them hopefully a lot more, more responsive and worthwhile getting now. So that's good. That's a good improvement there for those units. Cover combat. The range where small arms weapons ignore cover is increased from 7 to 10 meters. Okay, so you can be a little bit further away now. With small arms, so this will just generally make small arms weapons more lethal. So CQC squads should do better now. Hazard removal package. US Forces, British Wehrmacht. Hazard removal package is now standardized across the board for all factions to increase the repair speed by 2.5 for a total of 10 health per second when repairing. So that's the if you want to get barbed wire cutters on your squads, that now, like within Code 2, it would increase the repair speed as well. So this is what that's doing. So for US Forces, British and Wehrmacht, they all getting that. The wire cutter package, the wine sweeper package, all increases the repair speed now, which is great. Heavy howitzers and artillery. Barrage recharge time from 60 to 45. So that's reducing the recharge time. So that'll be firing faster or more frequently. Excuse me. Infantry-based timed and passive healing abilities. Squad-based timed combat abilities such as sprint and passive squad healing abilities are now disabled when the unit is retreating. Medium anti-tank guns increase the pack-up time from 1.3 to 1.75 seconds. However, anti-tank guns are now more responsive. Okay, so maybe that might overall just be the same time it takes anyway. But we'll see. That's quite a significant amount of time there. But again, we'll have to test it out. Anti-tank guns already weren't too hot in Code 3 compared to Code 2, but we'll see how they're affected now. Medium artillery, so you've got the pack howitzer, the 4.2-inch mortar, and the LEIG-18 from the DAC. Barrage times from 30 to 20, so they now will fire fire faster, so it makes them much more appealing to choose in a match. Thank you, Junko Pardner, for the follow. Welcome, guys. Just a quick reminder, if you have missed anything in this video, on the stream right now, I will be putting in a YouTube video later on, so don't worry about that. Projectiles. Direct fire projectiles such as direct fire, tank guns, anti-tank guns, autocannons, and flamethrowers were reviewed. These changes will increase the reliability of vehicles when firing over low obstacles and prevent exploits when firing through objects. All projectiles will immediately collide with obstacles when they miss their target and roll scatter. Projectiles will now use freely pass to their target. This prevents them from auto-colliding with obstacles in their way, such as mines and walls, if the shooter would normally be able to fire over the obstacles. So hopefully, just again, better quality of life change. I wonder if this means, so it's just like flamethrowers, so you might not be able to use a flamethrower now to shoot through a wall or shoot up a hill to get things. Again, we would need to test it. Recon loiters. One thing. Also make it, things like bazookas and anti-tank guns more reliable at shooting down walls or buildings and obstacles that you might want to clear, so you get clear lines of fire. Recon loiters. Airborne recon loiter plane increased from 240 to 480. Recon artillery plane health increase. So it looks like a lot of planes just getting a general increase to their health. I've also noticed someone else said earlier to me that the general AA capacities of a lot of units have been nerfed. So I'm a bit worried about that. I think planes might be too prevalent now, but we'll see. Repair abilities will now have increased speed, but they're affected by modifiers. Bonuses will stack to grant faster repair speed. Cool. Suppression units that are now suppressed now take a plus 33 penalty to weapon scatter on misses. This change is meant to increase the chance of weapons such as grenade launchers no longer landing directly on the target when the unit wielding it is suppressed. Interesting. So let's say you come on, you're getting suppressed, you're trying to lob a grenade, you might miss that. The grenade might miss its intended target slightly. Uncrewed machine guns and mortars, target side increase from 1 to 20 to facilitate force attacks on decrew weapons. Great. This is huge. I know specifically it's very hard to try and get some things to like shoot support weapons like machine guns and mortars to wipe them so the enemy can't recrew them. So this is great. But again, Code 2 had this. Snipers build time decreased across the board from 50 to 40 seconds. Okay. Yeah, you don't see snipers too much, so that might make it more appealing to build snipers. So they, specifically here we go into the US forces, have been a powerful 1v1, but weak in larger team game modes. These changes will be toning down the Easy 8 while improving underperforming units like elite infantry and support units. So the quarter-ton utility truck, or 4x2 truck, lethality for mid to far range increased by 10%. Hey, Calamero, thank you for the raid, dude. Appreciate it, mate. We're just going through the patch notes. You probably know what I'm playing for a bit. Just giving my thoughts and opinion of the patch. Bow, bow. Hope you had a good day. Welcome in, everybody. Air Support Center damaged aircraft no longer increase the recharge time of Air Support Center abilities. Damaged aircraft? How does that work? What does that even mean? Damaged aircraft no longer increase the recharge time of air support. Okay. Double sortie fuel cost is increased from 50 to decreased from 50 to 40. It crashed Cali game a lot. Cali, what do you mean? You're saying that's a bug? So it was a bug that's been fixed? Okay. P-47 dive bomb cost decreased from 90 to 70 missions, and they now also do more damage versus vehicles. P-47 strength run decreased, and that's been decreased as well. I've already thought the American Air Support Center was very strong, so generally having all these things getting buffed is quite worrying, considering how effective all this stuff was. So, yeah, I'm not. And also with the fact that I think like AA guns have been nerfed, like the Flak Verveling, the DAC AA half track, as well as the Verbal Wind, like their accuracy's been slashed massively. So it seems like I don't know why they've done that. It seems really strange. Bazooka team, bazooka reload and wind down just for a rate, a fine crease. Okay, and they also got a little bit more health. They originally, remember, had 80 to start with, so they're now going up to from 80 to 90, and now 90 to 95. I still felt that, I'm pretty sure a lot of people still feel that the Bazooka team was so squishy still. So increasing the health a little bit more is probably worth it, I think. Capture menu now gain shared veterancy. Off-map more barrage can now be used when suppressed. Engineer health has been increased by 5. This change does not impact when upgraded to assault engineers with that battle group choice. Mortar. The delayed fuse ability is primarily meant to demolish emplacement bunkers. However, its current power allows it to devastate T-weapons when abilities such as airburst are meant to be primarily anti-infantry ability. Their effects. Okay. So it's just going to be better against bunkers and less lethal against infantry, I guess, now. Okay, cool. M19 machine gun team, manpower cost reduced by 20. Weasel can no longer target aircraft. So again, another nerf to anti-aircraft ability. The gun motor carriage, keep calling it mortar. Direct fire range increased by 5, so it can actually shoot a little bit further now, which is cool. The M4A1 76mm conversion upgrade is now been reduced by 10 fuel, so another buff to the Americans there. The bulldozer bunker bust deals 100% bonus damage to emplacement. Front alarm is increased by a huge amount, 45 increase there. Population decreased as well, so you can have more units overall. Scale angle decreased 9 to 5, so it's more accurate. Wow, so yeah, the bulldozer, man, that would be great, man. That looks really nice now. So proper feels maybe more like a Brumbar now. The weapon support center has been decreased as well. So it's 20 manpower cheaper and 5 fuel cheaper. US looks like getting lots of buffs there from the US. And the Easy 8. Right, accuracy increased, but decreased the area of effect. Model limit. Okay. So yeah, it's not going to be as powerful against infantry. Basically, you can take that away from that. M8 Scott auto fire barrage aim time decreased from it's been halved by 0.5 a second. Fuel cost is decreased by 5 as well. So another buff. Commandos. Bazooka reload, wind down, increase so they fire faster. I believe population decreased smoke, so they're going to have more units, and they've also increased their health by 15. The whiz bang. Rockets increased, 5 more rockets for the whiz bang. The range, finally, whiz bang gets a range increase by 10. I'm not sure how much more that's going to be really, but definitely worth. I think it needed a bit more of a range increase because it just felt like it can get like the Flak 88 could just shoot it back. So this might mean I'm curious to see if this will now outrange the Flak 88 now with that increased range. Rocket area effect mid range distance increased from 1.5 to 2. Rocket area of effect damage increased. And rockets now deal 50% deflection damage. So I wonder if this means it's going to do much more damage against vehicles. So because a rocket when it lands against a vehicle, it might deflect it and it might do more damage. So beforehand, the whiz bang did crap damage against tanks. So now it's going to act more like a Calliope, hopefully. So it'll be worthwhile more worthwhile of a unit to get now, which is good. The Airborne Battle Group Carpet Bombing Run now drops 2 additional bombs per bomber. Bombs now build the entire reticule correctly. Okay, so just straight up buff to that. The HMG power drop is cheaper by 20 manpower, but there is a recharge time now from 30 seconds to 75. So you can't spam these at the beginning of a match, which I definitely saw happening in previous games. The P-47 rocket strafe damage to buildings reduced by 75%. Damage against infantry reduced by 75%. Delay before the second plane attack is increased from 1 to 2, and rocket count from 6 to 5. So pretty big nerf to the P-47 rocket strafe. So infantry have got a lot higher chance to survive against that, which is good. Paratroopers, cooked frag grenade fuse time decreased from 1.6 to 1. Bazooka reload wind down again, faster. Carbine lethality increased by 8%, so they're going to be better at close range with that. And the M19s, again increase. The population, so good buff. Good buff to paratroopers. Supply drop as well. Cost decrease from 150 to 125. Right, onto the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht has been overperforming, and these changes are meant to tone down overperformance to promote a more diverse gameplay. Some units have been underused and have been improved. So, like the 221, which you basically never saw. Its machine gun mid-fire lethality has been increased by 10%, and it also sees by 10 more range, which is great. So it'll act hopefully more like something like in Code 2, where you had, you get a 222 out or whatever for your for vision for a lot of it. So I imagine you'll want to keep the 221 in alive into the late game to give you that vision for you and the rest of your team. So, and hopefully it'll be just to do better earlier on. I hope this change as well. Like, I noticed he talked about the casemate changes with, like, fixed guns and stuff. Does that also apply to the 221 AT rifle upgrade? Hang on, let me have a quick look. Did it? I don't think it mentioned that. Where is it? Casemate tank destroyers. Where is it? Casemate tank destroyers. Where was it? I missed it. I have a feeling they've not bothered to do that for that. Yeah, it's not mentioned here about the 221 upgrade with the AT rifle on it. So I have a big feeling that that's that's going to be interesting. Bug fixes. Hang on, sorry, I'm just trying to get back to where I was. Yeah, so okay. So we'll see. We'll have to test the AT rifle on the 221 and see if that's been fixed as well, because it wasn't mentioned here. The 2cm flat gun, which I actually really like, its the cost has been decreased significantly by 40 manpower. An MG42 is about, I think, 260, I think, still, right? So it's something like for 20 power more, you get a much more lethal AA gun. Can't retreat though, but I don't know. It's also like the AA gun's good against light armor as well, so it might be worth maybe possibly skipping your MG to go for a flat K38 now potentially. The verbal win. So here we go. The bonus damage to aircraft has been decreased by so it's minus 25 now. So it's only going to be plus 25 overall. So again, a nerf to its anti-aircraft capability. I don't know why this is in here, because it felt like the AA vehicles took a long time already at the moment to shoot down planes. So cost decreased though. This is getting a buff on this side, so it's now 40 manpower cheaper and 10 fuel cheaper. The Grenadiers, the MP40 submachine gun guns lethality decreased by 15%, and their near has been decreased by 5. So it's just nerfed the MP40s. The Marder M3, M3. Long range accuracy has been reduced by looks of it, and long range by 12%. Okay, so that's not going to do as good. MG42, especially against suppressed targets, has been decreased. Suppression applied to other squads increased. Okay, so better against blobs, but less so, so basically this means it will take longer to pin something, I believe. Am I Foxhole retired? No, I'm just taking a break from Foxhole at the moment, buddy, as I do with all games eventually. Right, where we are. Stug point blank blast area effect limited and decreased from 4 to 3. So it does less AoE damage, I get, or less, just damage in general with that ability, which is a shame. Luftwaffe battle group. So the command point costs decrease from 2 to 1. The strafing run cost reduced from. Okay, so I think this Luftwaffe strafing run was pretty rubbish, to be honest. So, okay, it's been buffed, but not in terms of its damage, but at least you'll be able to use it more often. Right, onto the Brits. The training centre changes impact the British forces more than anticipated. To adjust, some core units are gaining increased performance, and the training centre will now be available from the start. We are planning to continue to make further improvements to the British in the future. So the training centre is now free, so it's automatically built. It used to cost 150 manpower, so Brits saved themselves 150 manpower now. £17. So the range of this has been increased from 70 to 80, which I'm surprised about because I already thought the £17 had already good, decent range. So getting it another 10 range is pretty nuts, to be honest. The CWT truck, the AA variant is cheaper, which honestly no one ever made this because it was just not worth going for, to be honest. It was just so squishy. I still don't think anyone's going to build it, really. The Dingo armored car. Well, good thing you can't spawn it at the moment. What, you can't? What do you mean you can't spawn what? Dingo no longer target aircraft. Foot guards, bazooka reload. It looks like all kind of bazookas are just getting standardized to a certain. This 3.54. Infantry sections. So the Brens are now going to be. So getting the Brennigan upgrades greater is better for you now. The lethality of all just infantry sections has been increased by 3%, and population decreased from 8 to 7. So that's good. So infantry sections are getting a buff there. Forward observation, observer base howitzer, fog of force scatter has been increased. Radiate time reduced, so they'll fire faster. Rotation rate has been increased, so that'll make them fire slower. Scatter max range from 15 to 6. That might be bit more accurate. The Stewart self-repairability speed's been increased by a lot, so it'll repair faster, and it's now cheaper to use that as well. Training center now immediately available from start training. Upgrade experience for infantry team weapons and light vehicles increased from 500 to 800, and medium and heavy vehicles increase. Okay, so again, a buff there for Brits, so they'll get when you buy those bonuses, your units will vet up faster, basically. Vickers heavy machine gun team, mid and far range, that's been increased. So the Vickers machine gun's been buffed. Commandos, mill bombs, fuse time, so reduced, so they'll grenade blow off quicker. Command LMG section now use the Enfields that have increased accuracy and damage over the standard infantry section at all ranges. 31% increase lethality at short range, 34% at mid, and 20% at long. Hardly anyone uses the Command LMG section, so I wonder if a couple of people will use it now. I guess we'll see. Incendiary carpet bombing run now drops 2 additional bombs per bomber. Bombs dropped will now fill the entire reticule correctly. Munitions cost increased though by 40. Naval blockade has been reduced from 2 to 1. And supply service now provides a 25% discount on built resource caches to the player by Royal Engineers or those built directly on territory points. Field infirmaries costs decreased as well from 200 manpower to 150. The DAC now, the scatter of the RAD is increased from 2 to 3.5, so I guess it won't be as accurate. The 17 pounder and the flak 88 is bugged. People can't build them. Oh, great. 250 light carrier cost decreased from 280 to 260. Now gains shared veterancy. Sweet. Love to see that because I always thought 280 for that was quite expensive, but now it's going to be a little bit cheaper and you'll be able to vet up as well. So yeah, you'll definitely see 250s earlier on in the match, which is good. Armor reserves cost decreased from 200 manpower 150 fuel to 100 manpower 75 fuel, so it's a significant change there. Only requires the Panzer Command to be purchased, which is 6. So this means you haven't got to build all 4 tier structures to upgrade to obviously get access to the Tiger or whatever, right? Tiger has been increased by 60 fuel, but when you think about it, it's 75 fuel cheaper now overall. Actually, it's going to be much cheaper for a Tiger. It's 75 manpower. Sorry, 75 fuel. cheaper in terms of the armor reserve upgrade, but you also haven't got to spend that fuel that you would have spent on the other tier structure, right? So you can skip. So you'll be able to actually get the Tiger out hopefully a lot quicker now, when it normally took forever to come out. So this would be interesting. It might actually be the Tiger, though, is crazy good for the DAC. Though I think the Tiger's been, it's like Canister's been nerfed as well. We'll keep reading here. Assault Grenadiers cost, the grenade cost has been reduced by 10. The combined arms ability now triggers on the 250 more half track, reconnaissance half track, and walking Stuka half track. Cool. The Flak 36, the aim time has been increased. It's going to take longer to aim an enemy. Aim time again longer. Reload time as well has been increased. So the Flak 36 getting nerfed. The Flat Verveling, so the AA flat gun on the half track bonus damage against aircraft has been reduced. Weapon range has been increased by 5. So buff there, but a nerf against aircraft, which is a shame. I don't know why. I don't feel like this is a necessary thing, considering like it's already, like late game, it's not going to be as influential on a battlefield because it's going to be up against tanks that get anti-tank guns will get killed. So you kind of needs to be, I really want to buff that up with anti-aircraft capability. Also, have we gone through Americans yet? We haven't gone. I think we've already gone through Americans. And I didn't read anywhere about the American AA half track getting nerfed in terms of its damage as well. So I'm not sure why it's only Axis that are getting nerfed to their AA guns, which is a bit. I don't know. I feel that's a bit unfair when Axis are already really struggling against all the planes. I'm not sure why this is changed. Right, the LEIG howitzer. Recharge time decrease, so far you'll be able to use its barrage more often, so again, buff to that. Marder, long range accuracy has been reduced by 12%. So your Marders, I think both Marders from Wehrmacht and the DAC are being nerfed with their long range, which is a shame. Don't know really what they're already quite squishy as a unit, so I don't know why they've nerfed them again like that. Maybe I don't know. I think they are very cheap, to be honest, the Marders. So maybe again. Yeah, nerfed AA damage, and they buffed the plane HP as well, which seems like a really hard, maybe quite overkill, I think. Panzer Grenadiers will now be more powerful without combined arms while retaining overall strength. This was to help address the significant difference in viability of the unit in small versus large games while still incentivizing combined arms play. Base yet in mid-long range increased by 10%. Combined arms accuracy bonus decreased from 30 to 20, and MG42 accuracy has been increased by 10. So, Grens, straight up better overall. Like they gain that 10% increased accuracy anyway that they get back. They lose it there, but they regain that kind of that accuracy. So overall buff. Big buff to Grens, normal mainline infantry for your DAC, which is nice because they were a bit underperforming, I think. Though I would expect them to buff more so buff your normal Wehrmacht Grenadiers. I mean, yeah, they were good with MP40s, but they kind of suck. I think generally, I was hoping that them get maybe a little bit of a buff. The Stug, all variants, machine gun burst length has been nerfed. You can no longer target aircraft, and the accuracy is reduced as well, so it's not as good. Target S-Spine launcher now deals significantly less damage to infantry, but now suppress and pin them. That's a shame. I kind of liked my Blob Annihilator button, because it punished blobbers, but I guess it'll still be useful. Shame, because it was quite a nice little ability, that. I kind of wish it was like ability I would rather than just being a straight out button and it does a 360 degree thing, I would rather it be maybe like an aim shot kind of thing. I think that would have been better change. Anyway, walking Stuka now deals 40% deflection damage, so now the Stukas will be much better against if their rockets land on Shermans and stuff, they'll do a bit more damage against them, which is good. Onto the Italian infantry battle groups, so booby traps, health. Increased health of booby trap from 20 to 140. Huge increase there. Now using the Denver charge ball, so I think they'll be a lot easier to spot. The Satori. Buff there, so they're 5 manpower cheaper to reinforce. And their moving burst has increased from 35 to 100%, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Their SMG should be better. Tank and combined arms. So the Semaventi, literally no one uses the Semaventi. Barrage recharge time decreased from 90 to 45 seconds. So that's half that, which is good. So you better use that more often. Reload decreased. So I'll be able to fire faster again. Ready aim time delay and heat shell ability delay. So so it'll do it immediately by the sounds of that. Also, maybe worth trying out and see if that works. Strafing run, bonus damages to vehicles. So that lost 25% extra bonus, and damage increased from 10 to 5. So it's strafe will just do more damage in general against infantry, less so against vehicles. So hopefully it'll be better overall. I guess we'll find out. The armor support vehicle awareness command point and cost has increased from 1 to 2. Overall, then we've got loads of bargain audio fixes, added barbed wire cut sound effect, naval blockade sound effect, propaganda bomb sound effect, added effects, bombardment, updated audio treatment, art animation changes, a lot of that. Campaign changes, North Africa gameplay, lots of UI changes by the looks of it. Still nothing about the floating weapons bug. Yeah, I noticed that going around quite often. That was still prevalent. Nothing about fixing that. So guys, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and want more content, check up over here and over here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the button down here. To catch the next video, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.